Trials of something. So some of us are still being somewhat skeptical and reserved about the fact that Trials will be returning next season, which I totally understand. There have been many times throughout Destiny's life cycle where we have been disappointed by things appearing or not appearing in the game. And on the flip side, there have also been some pleasant surprises in the game. Which one is Trials going to fall under? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Man of Cole, and today, let's talk about what our expectations should be for if Trials returns next season. Before we get started, I know some of you have been asking me about joining my clan, Collapsed, as well as wondering if there was a Discord to join. I put links down below to join both the clan and the Discord for those of you that were asking about it. Also, if you have any questions or are just looking for a chill place to hang out, you can follow my Twitch where I stream every Friday and Saturday evening. Link to that also below. Alright, so I've outlined 4 expectations that I think we should all have in relation to if or when Trials comes back. Which, if I'm being honest, is more likely a when at this point due to the collection of data I outlined in one of my recent videos. These 4 expectations were influenced by reaching out and listening to many different Destiny community members and what their thoughts and desires were for the return of Trials. Let's start with the first expectation, the meta. I want you to think back to a time when the meta was perfect. Can't think of it? Well, that's because there was never a perfect meta. You can ask anyone in the PvP community and they will all tell you of different moments in time that they thought the meta was just the worst that it has ever been. Vex Mythoclast, Suro's Regime, Fellwinter's Lie, Blade Dancer, Firebolt Grenades, Final Round Sniper, Stormcaller Melee Range, Lightning Grenade Range, The Last Word. I think you're starting to get the point. There has never been a time, nor will there ever be a time, when the meta is absolutely perfect. So for the people who are being hesitant about Trials returning in this state of the meta, while I understand your hesitation, I don't think there will be a better time to do it than right now. A lot of the weapons and subclasses are extremely viable in the Crucible right now. From hand cannons and pulse rifles to snipers, shotties, fusions, and even sidearms. There are so many solid options to equip with your Guardian, arguably the most ever. So try and shake that perception of Trials would be horrible in this meta, because there's no such thing as a perfect meta. Let's move on to our next expectation, which has been perceived in different ways from the community, and that is that Trials will be locked behind either a paywall, like a season pass, or some kind of prerequisite quest or activity. The biggest concern of almost every single person is how will Bungie prevent cheaters from happening in Trials? While Bungie has some variation of an anti-cheat system, we can all agree that it's not exactly the most swift process. The system that they currently have is a reactive process. We need a proactive process. And this can be accomplished by having Trials locked behind a paywall, a la the Season Pass. For example, when you buy the Season Pass, it has both a free tier and a paid tier. Under level 1 of the paid tier, there could be some kind of reward to unlock the Trials Passage, or the beginning of a short quest that takes you to the Lighthouse to show you the results of the Empyrean Restoration effort, which is currently happening right now. You could also add to it a time-gated quest that requires 1 or even 2 weeks to complete. You could also add a minimum power level to participate. All of these could be easy preventative measures for cheaters. That way, if someone decides that they want to cheat their way through a card and they get caught, not only do they have to make a new account, but they also have to spend more money by buying the Season Pass, they have to grind for the appropriate power level, and complete a 1 to 2 week long quest. That ends up being close to 3 to 4 weeks before they can even play Trials again. Let's go on to our next expectation, which is that there probably won't be any kind of matchmaking. I know some people in the community that have proposed something similar to how comp is right now, with the regular queue and the solo queue. They think that there should be some kind of solo queue for Trials. Let me provide some support against this happening. You are in a solo queue, and right now you are on a pretty good roll. Maybe you're 7-0. You only need a couple more games before you get flawless when you get in a lobby with people who know each other. Maybe there are a couple on a team who have been trying to queue up at the same time so that they can either match up with each other, or if they end up on opposite teams, they can back out so that their buddy will have an easy 3v2 match. There are so many things that can be manipulated when you combine matchmaking and pinnacle PvP activities, and it just makes me skeptical to have anything like that for Trials. Now, one might argue, well, they already have it for comp and it does fine. To which I would agree, it does work with comp most of the time. But for those of you that have played Trials in Destiny 1, you would all agree that Trials was just on a totally different level. People would go to crazy lengths, from spamming invites to other players on the other team hoping they would accidentally accept it and be removed from the game, to actually manipulating network connections in order to favor their team. Until Destiny is able to get dedicated servers, I highly dissuade any kind of matchmaking in Trials. The last expectation that I think Bungie needs to meet with Trials launching is aspirational loot. This may be more of a wish than an expectation, but either way, I think it needs to be addressed. The thing that made Trials in Destiny 1 so revered was that it was content that required skill and the loot table was desirable. Loot doesn't necessarily mean weapons and armor either, although in my opinion, Trials had some of the best looking armor in the game. The things that people sought more though were emblems and shaders. Insert Scarab Heart. In fact, Trials goers went to the extent of paying someone else to either help them get their Scarab Heart emblem or just have them recover their account and do it for them. Players will go to whatever extent they can in order to obtain loot. If Bungie meets the previous 3 expectations and is able to make the loot we obtain from Trials desirable, we could all be in for a Trials experience that we have never experienced before. And in a good way. What are some of your expectations or desires that you want to see with Trials in the future? Let me know down below. Again, links to my Twitch and Discord channels, as well as my Destiny clan, will all be down in the description. Thank you all very much for watching. A positive rating is always appreciated, and as always, we'll see ya.